Hello everyone, Lemon here, and today I'm going to do a bit of a different thing. We're going to try a new series. It's just going to be a short series that I'm just going to kind of do on the side, on the second channel, to kind of bridge the gap between the next uploads off the main channel. The next Lemon video is being worked on, but right now we're going to try something else out. So this is called Let's Try. Basically, we're just going to try any kind of game I feel like, to be honest. Typically kind of more different games than what I usually not usually play, but what I'd usually cover on the channel. Just gonna try different games, and again just gonna make a video on them, give my thoughts on them. And today we're trying out Propeller Arena. Now Propeller Arena is an interesting one, so I'll start the game now. Propeller, you're gonna have to excuse me if you can hear the very noisy Dreamcast in the background. The Dreamcast is, wow, especially when loading up a game, this thing is incredibly loud. They're notoriously loud. Now Propeller Arena, now this is a Dreamcast game, the Dreamcast exclusive. It's actually a very interesting title actually. So this was due to be released in late, I can't say late. It was due to be released in 2001. Obviously, in early 2001, Sega announced they were done with the Dreamcast. But this game was due to come out. Sega did still support the Dreamcast with games throughout 2001 and even into 2002 a bit. Support did start to dwindle, but the system was still getting support. However, this game was a very interesting case. So Propeller Arena actually was due to release in 2001. However, the 9/11 tragedy happened just before, I think a matter of like a month or two just before the game's release, and the game was actually cancelled for that reason. So the game features, I think 4 or 8 players. It's basically a dogfighting game where you fly in planes and try and shoot each other down and stuff like that. The game was actually cancelled because of like any kind of similarities to 9/11. Obviously the game, it's a loose connection, but at the time the 9/11 tragedy had just happened. Tensions were very high, emotions were very high. The Dreamcast itself it's already been announced that it was being discontinued, so it wasn't like a huge loss for Sega to drop this game. But and there are maps in this game. There's like a city map where you can like fly planes into buildings and stuff, and like it seems like a shame now, and it still is a shame even then, to be honest. But at the time they felt it was right to do that, which fair enough. Nevertheless, it's a very big shame, because this is a great game. It's a game that was released. It's a game that was going to be very big for the online components of the Dreamcast. In fact, it was going to be one of the biggest games to use. You can see network there. It was going to be one of the biggest games to have the online functionality. It supported online play. It supported, I think it was up to 6 players online. It also supported the Dreamcast keyboard, and it actually also supported the Dreamcast voice, the microphone as well. It supported the Dreamcast mic. You could actually talk to other players with this game, and it actually even had audio mixing options where you can control the audio and stuff like that, which is a very rare thing for Dreamcast games to have. Of the 2 games I've played that have the on-release it's actually one of the games out of all the games I've played to have the online voice chat on the Dreamcast, Planet Ring and Alien Front Online. Planet Ring sounds pretty good, but Alien Front Online's audio mixing is pretty rough. It's hard to hear the voices. This was the only game though in the library that actually had audio mixing, so it's a very big shame the game never came out. Obviously years later, not even that long later, I think around 2003 roughly, don't quote me, a build of the game was found, and it's the full game. The whole game's finished. The game was cancelled and it was completely ready for retail. This is burnt to a CDI, but it's the full game. So we're just gonna get into it. Championship. Let's just go for it. I've talked long enough. It's a very good looking game as well for the Dreamcast, and again, it's just a huge shame. It's a huge shame it's not back online. Let's see what we can pick here. Let's go with Eagle Jam. We'll go with Eagle Jam. Yeah. Now, interesting thing as well is because this game is completely finished. Obviously, the game was never. It's obviously like, I'm sure you're aware. Like, I still play the Dreamcast online through private servers and stuff. But all these games, they were online at one point. This game actually was never online. The servers were never turned on. Main reason being, the game never released. So, however, with that said, the fact that the game is completely finished, there is the potential for it to be brought back online. It's not back online currently. It isn't back online currently. However, with that said, it could be brought back online soon. It's not currently one of the ones that's in development and being worked on. However, I have been told that the games that are being worked on, if they do get cracked, if they eventually do get cracked, then they will. Apparently, Propeller Arena has a very similar netcode to those games. So, if they do get cracked, hopefully Propeller Arena should follow. It's definitely not out of the question though for this game to come back online. Definitely not. It is. There is potential for that to happen because the game is fully finished. It's a full game. It would be amazing if this could get brought back online, because while playing it offline is still very, very fun, it just feels like this game was meant to be played online. It really does just feel like that was how this game was designed to be played. Again, the graphics are very nice for the Dreamcast. This is this is an in-house SEGA game as well. AM2 actually made this. It's very, very arcade-like, as I'm sure you can tell. There's power-ups and stuff. Biggest thing really is, you can probably tell, is the closest thing I could compare it to is almost like a plain version of Crazy Taxi. It's very in your face with the flair. It's got a very early 2000s feel to it. It's also got a lot of licensed music as well. So again, Sega, just like they did with Crazy Taxi, where they got a load of artists and licensed out the music for like kind of punk rock music. It's got a rock soundtrack with like official bands and stuff, which again never actually came out because the whole game just didn't release. Of all the games on Dreamcast to not be released, this is probably by far the interesting one, the most interesting, to be honest with me, just because it was such a big budget first party Sega title, and it really, really just was such bad timing of the 9/11 attacks happening literal just a month or two before this game was due to release, because if those didn't happen, I'm pretty certain this game probably would have been released. Okay, oh shit, I realised now, to get the power-ups you need to shoot the boxes open first. Again, yeah, it supports up to 6 players as well, which was another interesting thing, because the Dreamcast, usually most online games is 4. There are a few that support 8, like Alien Front Online. It would have been interesting though for such a hectic game to have 6 players. Again, not quite 8, but still pretty impressive. Bear in mind as well, 6 players with full support for voice chat, so all 6 of those players could be using voice chat. And again, this is all over a dial-up connection. Again, it is a great game. It really is a great game, and it's really easy to get. You can burn a copy yourself through a CDI if you wanted to do that, or alternatively, you don't even have to do that if you wanted to. You can just you can buy like reproduction copies online of people who've like basically burnt the game but printed it onto like a proper disc, so it looks a bit more like, I don't know, like a genuine game that's released instead of just a blank CDR. Let's see if I can use this power up. Bingo, got him. Again, so you can probably see it's very arcade-like in its nature, very arcadey game, very can't really say arcadey again. Very arcade, very fun, very fast-paced. There's power-ups listed throughout the map. It's a great game. It's a great game, and again, I really, really do hope one day we can get this game online, because it really does feel like with the online component missing, it really would just be that final piece of the puzzle to like realise what this game could have been. Right now, as what it is, again, it's a great game, but it's just hard not to feel like, oh, this would have been so great if it was an online game. Let's see if I can get this, guys. 1 more point and I'll win, so I'm actually in the lead here. we might get this last point. There we go. Winner. Very nice graphics as well. Very nice graphics for the Dreamcast. So you can kind of see, again, the Dreamcast really never lived up to its full potential because it was killed off so shortly. But late 2001 game, you can kind of see here just how SEGA, and I suppose other companies as well, but this just really showing how SEGA are starting to come to terms with the hardware and really be able to like kind of get some really great looking games on the Dreamcast. And you compare this to like Deadly Skies or something, an early Dreamcast playing game, you can really see, like, you can see the difference. I mean, the skyboxes here look really, really nice. Granted, I've got a DC HDMI mod, so this is all outputting in 960p, like full HD. But even on just VGA or anything like that, it's a very good looking game. The environments are very nice. They're quite big and quite open as well. Very detailed. You can see like things fly off the plane as you're getting shot. It's a very, again, it's just such a shame this game never came out. Of all, you know, there's a lot of cancelled Dreamcast games out there, and there's even a fair few that we've managed to actually play in some form because there's been like a leaked beta build and stuff like that. Like, I suppose the next biggest one next to this one is the Half-Life port, which again is completely finished. I've played through the whole of Half-Life on Dreamcast. The whole thing is completely finished. You literally can burn a copy. A build was found of the Half-Life port that was cancelled about a month before. Don't mind Windows. About a month before. About a month before the game was due to launch. So Half-Life is another big important one, but this one I think is probably the most interesting, mainly because, I don't know, some could say Half-Life is a good contender as well, but this one was very interesting just because it's a first party high production SEGA game. Like, you can tell by playing this game, it's not low budget at all. It's like a high end, AAA SEGA game. So I really do think it would have, obviously it wouldn't have saved the Dreamcast, but it definitely would have been another big enticement for people to try out the online multiplayer on the Dreamcast, because PSO always kind of ruled that. Obviously there were other games that supported it. PSO always had the biggest fan base though, but Planet Ring could have been a good contender for people to try out. I just hopefully, again, biggest thing would have been the voice chat as well. Very, 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 very few games actually support the voice chat microphone on Dreamcast. In fact, in the UK and PAL territories, there was only one game that ever supported it, and it was Planet Ring. However, in the US though, there were a couple more. You had Alien Front Online supported voice chat. And you also had, swear there's another one, Alien Front Online, Planet Ring. I think that may have been it. I feel like there is another one, but I think that might have been it. Again, Alien Front Online, Planet Ring, and this one as well was planned to have voice chat support. It was also going to be a big thing for the game. So yeah, would have been nice to see the voice chat component. The microphone for the Dreamcast, to be honest, is very, very impressive. I've used it a few times. I do own one, and I have tried out Alien Front Online and Planet Ring, and I've heard, considering you're over a 33, I think it's 33. So the Dreamcast came with a 56k modem in the US model, but in the PAL models it only came with a 33 kilobit modem, which is a very low speed really in modern, if you compare it to modern speeds now. The fact that voice chat can work so well over such a low internet speed is incredibly impressive, to be honest. Again, Planet Ring is actually the one I've seen that has the best voice chat, and Planet Ring was a PAL exclusive, so it was a 33 kilobit connection. The PSP of voice chat was going over. So okay, so this is the third battle. This, to my recollection, is one of the, I think this was the map that was like, ooh, this is maybe not a good idea with what's just happened with 9/11. Obviously, you can see it's called Tower City. There's lots of explosions going on around buildings. at the time, it was, you know, it was just really, really poor timing, and it's such a shame because a great game, you know, just didn't release, which is a shame. Obviously not as much of a shame as the actual tragedy of 9/11 itself, but yeah. I think another thing as well was the another thing as well was the box art of the game. It featured like planes flying around in this map, I think, flying around in this map, Tower City, and again it was just at the time, it would have been probably seen by a lot of people as poor taste, really, which again it purely is, just bad luck, but I think it kind of had to be done. Again, Sega, I feel like Sega, if the game was like an earlier Dreamcast game, Sega probably would have made more of an attempt to try and modify the game or just try and get it out, but considering that it was coming out for a console they'd already announced wasn't their future, they were discontinuing, freeze control, shit, so someone's used a power up on me. Yeah, considering it was already coming out for a system they'd already decided they're discontinuing, they're not supporting anymore. It just wasn't worth fighting over, really. Again, they're abandoning the hardware, so any games they're releasing in that period is literally just kind of in a way of like, oh yeah, you know, like we kind of owe it to the people who are still on Dreamcast, like, you know, it's just kind of owe it to support, kind of like Nintendo with the Wii U, with like Breath of the Wild and stuff. So there was no real monetary incentive really to keep publishing on Dreamcast at that point, but they chose to. Oh shit! See, stuff like that is probably maybe what like again, you can't see the unfortunate similarities really, and it is a shame. But yeah, this is a very fun game. It's a great game, and again, I really do hope one day the Wizard Schumer, who's probably the main guy, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be him, can bring this one back online. Because who knows? I definitely wouldn't ever say never. In fact, I would say it's probable that at some point the game will come back online. Again, games that are being worked on right now. And when I say worked on, it's more in the terms of like games that have had stuff done to them, like games that have had movement. Stuff's been worked on and progress has been made. Speed Devils Online's had a bit of progress made. I think Outrigger has as well. And the biggest one is Super Bomberman. Bomberman Online. And with Bomberman Online, apparently, to my knowledge, again, I'm very limited with all my knowledge in this, apparently Bomberman Online has very similar netcode to this game, or one of those games I've just listed does. And apparently it's that is kind of the big thing of like, freeze control shit. That is kind of the big thing of like, that's what's going to get this game back online. Because when again, very limited, you come talking to someone with a very limited understanding of it here, but when a game's servers are brought back online for the Dreamcast Online community, typically the best way to do it is to find data containing the old netcode and the old server and stuff like that, so you can reverse engineer the server. However, with some of these games, it's very, very hard to find this. You know, to find this old server data. Like, someone probably maybe has it somewhere, but it's just trying to find that person who has it. I know a big one that people really want to get back online is Unreal Tournament, the Dreamcast port of that. Main thing being, Quake 3 is back online, and Quake 3 is great. I love Quake 3. But Unreal Tournament had 8-player support, Quake's only 4, so it would have been cool to really try out like the 8-player multiplayer. That was a big thing, yeah. And the thing is with, I know like recently PC Wizard was desperately trying to, I know a few years ago as well, other people were making like a few attempts to, they were desperately trying to get some info on, I think they had a few leads on a few guys that could have potentially had the server info, but all those leads kind of went dry, and yeah, it didn't end up great. Damn, shot down by 8-bit guy. Again, it's got a very strong flair to the game. I still won though, I think. fourth battle, Sky High. So this is above the clouds. Much simpler level. Again, very nice aesthetic though. I think this is the last battle now. I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. This has got a really nice aesthetic to it. Again, graphically, this game is very impressive for the Dreamcast. You can really shows, like, even now, in such a short lifespan for the Dreamcast, it really shows like they really did push the hardware to its limit, and it does make you think, if the Dreamcast manages to stay around for a bit longer than just 2001, how good graphically and just in terms of scope could we have seen some games get, because, like, you know, developers would have got hold of the hardware. And, you know, I mean, if you compare, like, you look at GTA 4 on PlayStation 3, which was like a launch title for the game, or like came out around the beginning of the game, and then look at like GTA 5 for PlayStation 3. The difference between the two is like night and day, and you know, that just makes me think, like, you know, if the Dreamcast, reverse control, if the Dreamcast managed to stay around for a bit longer, probably would have seen some great. I mean, like, you can still get glimpses of stuff like this in Shenmue 2, like how good the console really could be when it was pushed properly to its limits. But, like, we probably could have seen just some like great games on the Dreamcast graphically. We just never really got to see that, really, because a lot of the third-party games that came out on the Dreamcast were just ports of PlayStation 1 games, which again look better, but it's still built on the baseline of it needs to run on a PlayStation 1. So it's not a lot as well. I mean, like, you know, there was a fair amount of third-party Dreamcast games that were made for the console, but they were quite early. They were still in the infancy of, like, you know, like early PS2 games look quite rough, and like the Dreamcast only really survived in like a bit before and just at the beginning of that early PS2 era. So, like, you only really ever get to see kind of like these early 6th-gen games. But, like, you know, if the Dreamcast lasted till like 2005, 6, like, how would games that were made in like 2004 and 5 have looked? You know, it's just very interesting. Let's go for this guy. Oh, freeze control. Fuck. Is there anything I can do here? Because I'm about to go straight into these clouds. Go for this blue guy. Got him. Again, very addictive game loop to it. It controls quite tight, quite fun, and again, the power-ups definitely keep things fresh. It's definitely a good call to go for like an arcadey type of game, much more like a more realistic focused type of like plain dogfighting game. You know, it might be good to the right crowd, but this probably had a lot more mass appeal, much easier to pick up and play, and plus it's distinctly Sega as well. Sega's, you know, a very arcadey, like flair-like company, and this definitely fits with the catalogue of like Crazy Taxi and stuff like that. For fuck's sake, shot down just as I was about to get the nuke down. Items just phase out. The game's got a very similar graphical style to Shenmue, actually. Weirdly enough, it reminds me of Shenmue, the character models especially. Damn, I'm getting slaughtered here. I need to sort this out. There's a green guy following me around. Let's see if I can get him. Ow, definitely not. Fuck. I'm really not doing great today. What? Where am I? Am I second? I am second, yeah, I think. Right, let's try to get this guy. It's not a very like there's definitely like turning and stuff isn't like a very snappy turn. It's very much like a kind of got to drag yourself over. I wouldn't say unresponsive because that's not the right word, because the controls definitely are responsive. It's just a very more kind of like more tanky than you'd expect. Well, just to manage to get that guy, and then I was taking out myself. Not tanky, just there's definitely there's a lot of weight to the controls. That's literally the word I'm trying to say. There's a lot of weight to the controls. There's definitely a lot of weight to the controls. This is a nice map though. Again, the maps in this game are just very, very good looking for the Dreamcast. You know, very like you know, like even just this is, I mean, realistically this is a simple map. It's just like a skybox really above the clouds, but it's just a very nice looking one. The canyon one before with the sun-kissed sky looked really nice as well. Really good looking game for the Dreamcast. I won again though. I didn't actually get to choose the difficulty of the bots here, so I'm just convinced I'm fucking amazing at this game. Hopefully if it fucking gets brought back online at some point, I'll just demolish everyone on it, but realistically that's probably not what's happening. Results, so every single one, just look at that, absolutely beautiful. I think that is the last stage, I think, if not there's one more. 5th battle. Okay, now this is the last stage. Old Castle. This is more like a British kind of Scotland, I want to say, maybe inspired by. I do remember this level. Right, let's go. Again, this is championship, so stealth. Sure. Would have been really interesting to see how the mic how well the mic would have sounded on this as well. And again, I'm still hopeful that one day, even relatively soon, maybe not like immediately soon, but relatively soon, we'll be able to see that. We'll be able to see how the game looks, how the game is online, because online is definitely the biggest game, the biggest online was definitely the biggest thing for this game. It was definitely going to be the big draw for it. And like I said, without online it's still a great game, but it definitely feels like online was I suppose the closest you could really get to an online experience on this is you could play like local multiplayer. You could even play it through like Parsec or something on like an emulator, but it's not the true online. It's still split screen. It's still, even if you're using it, even if you're technically playing the game online through something like Parsec, it's still, the game still thinks it's local multiplayer. I want to see this game hold its own, and I want to connect to a server and stuff. Again, one day I can dream. It's definitely one of my like biggest ones though that I would really like to see come back. Definitely. Alright, let's try and get this guy. He's slipping away from me. Hit. Nice. These CP, I think maybe it's because I've just started the championship. It's like a new one, but they are fucking dog shit. They are very, very easy. That's a crash. No, I'm fine. So the way the controls work, it's like right trigger isn't fire. Right trigger is to like accelerate. Accelerate the throttle, so you go faster. Left trigger is to brake, so you go slower. Obviously you can't stop, and then leave to not press either. It's like a medium speed. A is to fire, and then the rest, no buttons do anything right now. You can change your view actually. Wow, that's interesting. So that's with the D-pad you can change your view. Let's go for the cockpit view. So even the cockpit's quite detailed for the Dreamcast, like quite impressive really. So we can get there. Let's go. Hits. Cockpit's actually a good look. Right, pull down. Hit. Come on. Bingo, got him. Use the power up as well. Prefer third person, to be honest with you. Well, it's interesting. Oh, you've also got this as well. This is interesting. So there's like first person, but without the actual cockpit. Again, even the cockpit's just so well modelled for a Dreamcast game, really. Even the lighting and stuff, it's just such a shame it never released, because I really do think this would have been, if this game did release, it definitely would have been one of the big games people still talk about on the Dreamcast. Probably even SEGA probably should have just, a few years later when things had calmed down with 9/11 and stuff, they probably should have just re-released the game as like HD and 360 or something, and you know, given it like a HD re-release, reinstalled the online multiplayer, and yeah, give it a go. Hit. Just escaped. Skybox is very impressive for these games. In fact, the maps themselves, even though I mean, even the actual space you can fly in is big as well, definitely for a Dreamcast game. But even just like the backgrounds of, like, you know, the places you can't fly, it still feels like you're in a very big area, like with the mountains and stuff. It still definitely feels like that. 35 seconds left. Just gonna get this guy. Can we get one last kill in? Let's hope so. Come on. Come on. Come on. Again, the slower you move, the tighter your turns are, so come on. Now, winner again though. Winner again. Failed. Oh wait, did I not win that one? Oh, actually, oh shit. I'm used to dominating, but no, I'm losing. Continue. Okay, we're gonna leave that there. Oh, I think that's the end of the championship anyway. Let me see voice volume. So I think that was what you could have used for, like, the online stuff. No, that's probably about it. That's actually probably about the narrator and stuff. You can see network there. If you press that, it would try and dial. Network battle login. Homepage. This as well. This is one of the few games that supported the broadband adapter. So obviously the Dreamcast came with a dial-up modem built in, but they did release a broadband adapter late in its life in 2001, which gave it an Ethernet port over just a normal, you know, phone line. Only a few games supported it because broadband adoption was very low at the time, so you had to kind of like developers had to actively make their games support it. But a few games supported it. Toy Racer did, Phantasy Star Online did, Quake 3, and this was one of the ones that did support it as well. If I go quick battle here, let's just quickly see how many maps we actually have on this one. How many maps is there? Airport, Red Valley, Tower City, Sky High, Ice World, that looks interesting, Volcano, Old Castle, Phantom Island. Interesting. Okay, well guys, that's probably going to do it. Hope you enjoyed this like interesting look. My Dreamcast now got a DC HDMI mod, so it outputs in full HD, which means I can record footage really easily and looks very crisp. So I do want to do more Dreamcast games in the future on the main channel and just on the side channel. In fact, the next main Lemon video I'm working on is actually a Dreamcast game. Again, that should be out in about a week as the time of this video is being recorded, and hopefully the time it comes out. And that is gonna do it, guys. That is gonna do it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know what you thought of Propeller Arena. I really do think it's a shame this game never released. Like I said, it's never came out. It was never released. A build of the game was found. The final build of the game was found online and it's been dumped online, so people can just download it and ROM it and put it on a CD-ROM and play it themselves, like I am. But the game was not released in any capacity at all by SEGA. And yeah, right, that's gonna do it. Hopefully I will see you all soon, and hopefully I'll see you all soon in the next Lemon video. And also, again, let me know what you think on this new series. Let's try. Should I do more? I kind of want to do more. Probably going to do more anyway. But yeah, see you all later. Bye.